I'm going to be using two very important books to guide me through this process, and I highly recommend them. Criminal Astrology Volume 1 by Kirsty McIntosh and the Forensic Astrology Workbook by Kirsty McIntosh. These are very important books, and they are going to help you through the entire process. You can actually learn this method without knowing a single thing about astrology, because you will be able to look up all of the degrees and all of the planetary lines and what they all mean. You can learn that as you go. So you actually don't even have to be an astrologer to use this method called mapping. So the first thing you will do is you will go to scribblemaps.com and create an account. And you have to purchase a monthly plan, or I think you can pay an entire year up front and it's a little bit cheaper per month. But I use the Pro plan, which is about $19.99 US dollars a month, and I'll just pay monthly. So now we're going to get started with the mapping. So after you create an account, okay, you will go to this settings tool right here and click, and then you need to check Imperial. Okay, it just works better with Imperial. And your astrology chart needs to be in Placidus. Don't know really why that is, but Placidus, it just works. And you can get your charts on either astrowin.com or astro.com. I use astro.com and Placidus to make these charts, and it's pretty good. But also check out astrowin.com. Okay, so now that I have that marked for Imperial, I'll X out of that. Okay, and then I'll go to this bar and I'll select Menu. Okay, and I will click New Map. Okay, new map created. Okay, sorry. Now I'm going to go to this search bar and I'm going to plug in where Zack Lefave was last seen. Now I have some updated information. I said earlier that he was seen around 12:30. This is saying 12:15, and it makes a difference. So I'm going to regenerate the chart for 12:15. Okay, it says he was seen on Highway 334 in Plymouth, Nova Scotia. He was last seen headed towards Wedgeport and was last seen on the Newell Road entrance of the highway. So I'm going to try to find that location using the address tool. Okay, so what I've done is I've Googled Newell Road in Plymouth, Nova Scotia, and an address popped up from a realty site, I think realtor.com. That does not mean that whatever house this is was involved in his disappearance. I'm only using this address as a reference point so that I can zoom in and find what they're saying is the Newell Road entrance to Highway 334. And that's the only reason I'm using this address, which is 55 Newell Road. And it says Nova Scotia, Canada. Now I'm going to click this marker here, okay? And I'm going to click on it like that. And I'm going to click enter. Sorry, this is hard to do. Um, okay, and I want to add marker. Okay, and I've clicked the kind of marker I want to use, and that's the one with the point at the bottom. Okay, so I'm only clicking this so that I can zoom in on that area of where Newell Road meets 334. So I'm only using this to help me find this intersection, and after I've found it, I'll go over here and I'll delete this, okay? All right, because this particular address really has no bearing on the case. Okay, so I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to go in here, and, well, it didn't use the tool I wanted it to use. Maybe I didn't do that right. Okay, so there we go. And then I'll go over here and I'll get rid of this. Sorry. Oh, it's blurring on me. I'm so sorry. Okay, and I'll get rid of that because I want to use a certain marker. There we go. Oh, mercy. Doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, there. And then it'll ask me, do I want to delete that overlay? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to expand, okay, because I want to be able to see where Newell and 334, where they intersect. And let's see, I see Newell Road right here, and I see 334 right here. I'm not sure which end because it looks like Newell Road is kind of a horseshoe, but I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to come right back. Okay, so I found the general area. The problem with Newell Road is it's a horseshoe. And so this article or this AI overview says that he was walking towards Wedgeport. Okay, so I had to zoom down, okay, in order to find Wedgeport, which is here. So I'm going to be looking for the southern end of Newell Road. So I'm going to zoom back in, okay, and I'm going to click the intersection of 334 and Newell headed toward Wedgeport. So now I've found it, okay? I've found the southern end here of Newell Road and 334 where they meet, and I'm going to click about right there, okay? Right around that intersection. And every time I try to click this, it moves it. Okay, all right. So then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to mark what this is. And I'm going to put something like intersection 334 and Newell. Okay, so I filled in this box the title, which is Highway 334 and Newell, in the description, last sighting of Zack Lefave, and I'm going to click save. Okay, all right. So there it is. All right, and then here, sorry, this is hard to do while you're holding a cell phone. And I'm going to lock this, okay? Okay, and you want to make sure, uh-oh, no, it didn't lock. Anyway, try it again. Has to be black if it's, okay, now it's locked if it's black, okay? So I'm going to lock that pin. And then I'm going to go over here, and every time I save something, every time I lock it, I'm going to go to menu, and then I'm going to go to save map, and then I'm going to title this map Zack Lefave. And then I'm going to save the map, and I'm going to do that pretty much every time I lock a pin or a radius or a line, anything having to do with the map, because I don't want to lose my work. So here I've marked the map that I'm going to save with the title Zack Lefave, and then I've put in the description when and where he was last seen, for quick reference in case I have to go back. Now I'm going to generate an astrology chart for this case. I'm going to save this map now. There we go. This is if you want to share. You can share this map. You can keep it private. You can make it a public map. And I'll get into that later. So now I'm going to go to astro.com. Okay? You can also use astrowin.com or .org. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to click these three dots. I'm going to go to free horoscopes. Free horoscopes. Horoscope drawings and data. Chart and ascendant. And then I'm going to get this silly pop-up and I'm going to close out of it. And then, okay. Then I'm going to click add and I'm going to see if it'll let me add a chart. If I have 100 charts, it'll cut me off and I'll have to go to another one of my users. So let's see here. Add. Oops. Okay. So I have to delete something or I have to go to another user. So here's how I've marked this last seen so that I know it's a last seen chart and not a birth chart. Zack Lefave. I marked it as an event. January 1st, 2021, 12:15, okay, a.m., Nova Scotia, Canada, and Yarmouth County, okay, and then I'm going to click continue, and it's going to generate a chart. So now we have a chart that's been generated, and I'm going to go into additional settings, okay, because I want some more things to show up on the chart. So these pop-ups are really annoying, by the way. Oh, how do we get rid of them? Oh my goodness. Okay. So I want extended chart selection. And I want to make sure that we're in Placitas, which is probably default, but anyway, make sure we're in Placitas. And I want to mark, let's see, make sure it's in tropical, geocentric. Okay, here we go. I want the part of fortune. I want the vertex. Oh, I'm really bad at this. While I'm trying to hold my phone, and I want Lilith as well. Vertex and Lilith. Well, not that one. Oh, this is terrible. Okay. And then if I want some asteroids, like I'm going to try to find his name, Zack. Okay, I'm going to click on asteroids. And then I'm going to click on Z and see if I can find the asteroid for Zack or Zachary. Okay. That's close enough, Zachary. Okay. And I highly doubt the name Lefave is going to be in the asteroid database. So that's probably going to be about as good as I can get. Okay. And there's the asteroid number. Okay. And then I'm going to go back up here and click show chart. Oh, I don't have to do that. Show the chart. There we go. All right, so it has some little extra things thrown in. Okay, Zachary shows up in the 11th house at 14 degrees Leo. Okay, and it looks like our ascendant or rising, which is this line right here. I'm so sorry for the blurring. I just can't make it stop. Is 6 degrees Libra. So that's the first line I'm going to plot is the ascendant. Now that you know the ascendant is at 6 degrees Libra, you're going to turn to page 139 in the workbook and you're going to find this chart, okay? And you're going to take this number, 180, okay? And you're going to add 6 to it, okay? Because 6 is the ascendant. the 6th degree of Libra. Plus 180 is 186. So it helps if you have a little piece of scratch paper. Okay, and then you can write ascendant, 6 degrees Libra, plus 180 from the conversion chart is 186. So you can just write this down every time you want to plot a position, a luminary. Sorry about that blurring. I just don't know how to make it stop. Or a planet, or something like the North Node, etc. So here I'm going to start plotting. My goodness, I just can't stop the blurring. But first I need to draw the radius. And the radius is going to be, I'm going to start out 6 miles. Now, I'm not going to be able to hold my phone, okay, in order to show you how to draw the radius. But you're going to use this tool right here, okay? That's the tool you're going to use. And what you're going to do after you click on that tool there is you're going to go to the bottom of the point, okay? And you're going to stretch it out to 6 miles. And anyway, I'm sorry I can't show you how to do that while I hold my phone, but I'm going to do that and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. As you can see, that says circumference. So now as you can see, the radius says 6 miles. So I shrunk the map and now I'm going to expand it again. And we can kind of see where everything is, okay? I just think it's helpful to shrink the map and expand it a couple of times and just kind of look and see what we got. Now it's time to start plotting the lines, okay? And those are going to go from this point here, which is where he was last seen. And now I'm going to try to show you how to draw a line, okay, a planetary line or an ascendant or a descendant, an angle, whatever it is you want to draw a line for. You're going to need this line tool right here. See that? It looks like a little stick with a diamond on each end or a triangle on each end. And that's what you're going to use to draw your lines. So I have to draw this line to 186 degrees because Libra starts at 180 and it's 6 degrees Libra, so that's 186 degrees. So I'm going to start my line at this point right here. And you see that number right there called bearing? That's what I'm going to follow. And I'm looking for 186 degrees. Here, I'm going to resituate this. Yeah, 186. So, so sorry. I'm trying to do this with very limited recording equipment. Okay, 186. Oops, sorry. It's going to go this way. Okay. Now, you want to try to get as close as you can. I'm sorry, that's 188. Oh, this is really hard. Sorry, let me, there. So sorry. Okay, okay, here we go. 185, 184, okay, 186, okay. This is hard. Okay, it should say 186.0. I'm going to try to get as close to that as I possibly can, and it's really hard when you are working with a small screen. Okay, I'm just going to stop it here. It says 186.4, and as you can see, I'm going to actually have to do that over because I'm not exactly on this point. I'm a little bit over. So if you have to redraw a line, what you do is you go over here and you delete that overlay, okay? And then you just redo it and you do it more neatly. Now, I will tell you, if you have a small computer screen like I do, it's 14 inches, it's going to be more challenging to draw these lines because it's a little easier when you expand, but when you expand, it takes it so far that when you try to draw your lines, it's still hard. So if you can do this on a desktop with a really large screen, that's going to help you quite a bit. So now I'm going to try to redraw that line. Okay. This is going to take some practice and it's going to take some patience. I can promise you that. So now I'm going to try to find this 186 again. It's not going to be easy. Okay. And it should say 186.0. Yeah, this is hard for me because I'm trying to look at it. Okay, there, 186.0. Whew. Oh my goodness. And I got it almost at the very end, all the way to the radius, but I stopped a little short because I got so excited when I saw 186. I could have just died. 186.0. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to mark this. Sorry, 186. And I'm going to mark it the ascendant. I'm going to put ASC. And I'm going to put 6 degrees Libra. In case something happens and I have to redraw it. Okay? And then I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to lock it. I'm also going to lock my... I'm also going to lock my radius, which is the circle. And, okay, that's already locked. And then I'm so excited that I finally got that done that I'm going to go over here and I'm going to save my map. All right. There. And now I'm just going to go around the chart that I generated. I'm going to screenshot it. I'm talking about the one I generated on astro.com. And I'm going to use the degrees and the signs of the planets and any other points I want to map. And then I'm going to use that conversion chart and I'm going to use that to get my degrees, to use my line tool. That's my hand tool, by the way. If you want to do anything with the map, you know, like move it around and things like that, you'll have to switch to the hand tool. But I'll have to go back to the line tool to draw lines.